Algebra 1, Unit 4, Writing Linear Functions, Target D, Converting Between Forms. Alright, so example 1a says write an equation of the line that passes through the point 3, -1, and m equals -4. So remembering that m is the letter to represent slope, first we need to come up with an equation in point slope. Now, the reason we're going with that method first is because that method only requires a point and a slope, and that's exactly what's given to us. So it should be a little bit easier to be able to complete. Alright, so point slope form is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. We're given slope, so we're told that m is equal to -4. We're given a point, specifically 3, -1. So that's going to be our x1, y1, and then we're just going to plug the three values that we know into the formula. So we have y minus y1. y1 happens to be the value -1, so we'll plug that in. M is -4, parentheses x minus 3, and then close it up. Now notice over here, we have a double negative, which will become positive. So y plus 1 is equal to -4, parentheses x minus 3. Okay. If you remember before, I told you when we're doing point slope form, when you plug in x1 and y1, it's going to be the opposite of what they are originally. All right, so that's point slope form. Now we're going to take that equation and we're going to write it in slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Now the equation from before was y plus 1 equals -4 quantity x minus 3. Notice that y is all alone on the left, and the mx plus b expression should be on the right. So a couple things we could do first, but I'm going to go ahead and do the distributive property. So -4 times x will give me -4x. -4 times a -3 will give me +12. Now I want to get y by itself. The only thing that is in the way of y being by itself is this adding of 1. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to subtract 1 on the left, and I'm going to put it on the right as well underneath the 12 because they're both constants. On my left, 1 minus 1 will give me 0, so I can bring down y. -4x has nothing to combine with, so it's going to come straight down. And then -12 minus 1 will give me a +11. All right, so y equals -4x plus 1 is slope intercept form. Then we can go ahead and do the next one. Okay, so we want standard form. Standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. So we're going to take the equation we currently had from the previous one, y equals -4x plus 1, and we're going to rewrite that in standard form. Notice standard form, ax plus by, that expression should be on the left. The y is exactly where it needs to be. Let me just go ahead and fix this up a little bit, just to make it clear that's a plus. Okay, so the y is exactly where it needs to be, but we need to get the -4x term to the other side. So if it's already a minus, we're going to want to add it to both sides. Okay, on my left, y plus 4x cannot combine because they're different variables. I'm going to want to bring down the positive 4x first because we want the ax term to be first, and then the y was positive to begin with, so we'll just leave it as plus y. On the right, -4x plus 4x is 0, leaving us with just 1. Now remember, for standard form, your a, b, and c need to be integers, and a must be positive. Okay. And here a is +4, b is +1. There is no number that we can see in front of the variable y, but we know that the coefficient is a 1 even though we don't see it. And c also happens to be 1, so that form is in standard form. That's perfect. So we wanted standard form, and there it is. All right, moving on to the next one. 2a. Let's get my pen working. 2a says write an equation of a line that passes through the points -3, -20, and 436. The biggest difference here is we're not given slope, but we're going to have to calculate slope given those 2 points. All right, so point slope form again is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. We're given 2 points here. First thing we're going to want to calculate is a slope. This time around, we're going to use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. Those represent 4 different quantities. So I'm going to label my 2 points going from left to right. -3 is the first point I see, so I'm going to label that x1, y1. 436 is the second point I see, so I'm going to label that x2, y2, and plug these values in. So y2 will be 36 minus y1. Keep in mind, y1 is a -20. I'll put that in parentheses to remind myself of the double negative. X2 is 4 minus x1, which happens to be -3. Again, a double negative, so I'll put it in parentheses to remind myself. 36 minus a -20 will just become 36 plus 20, which will give me 56. 4 minus -3 will become 4 plus 3, sorry, which is 7. 56 divided by 7 gives us a slope of 8. For point slope form, we also need a point. We're given 2. Technically, we can use either one, but since we labeled the first one x1, y1, which is what we need for point slope, I'm just going to go ahead and use the same one. So -3 will be my x1, comma, -20 will be my y1. Plug it into the equation. We have y minus y1 is -20 equals slope, which was 8, parentheses x minus x1, which is a -3. Okay, and which, if we clean it up a little bit, y minus a -20 will just become y plus 20. And then x minus 3 will become x plus 3. So I'm doing this extra step here with the double negatives, but if you remember, I said that the point x1, y1 will have to go the opposite what it normally is. So you could have just gone from this point to here right away if you wanted to. Okay, so we want a point slope form. Here it is. All right, the next one we want is slope intercept form. So we want y equals mx plus b. So we're going to take that equation and rewrite it here. We have y plus 20 equals 8 times the quantity x plus 3. Again, eventually we're going to want y by itself on one side. So let's do the distribution first. Bring down the left side. 8 times x will give us 8x. 8 times 3 will give us a positive 24. And then we want to get the positive 20 to the other side. So we're going to subtract it. On my left, the 20s will cancel. They'll give me 0. So I can bring down the y equals 8x has nothing to combine with. 24 minus 20 will combine because they're constants, which will give me a positive 4. Okay, so we wanted slope intercept form. Here it is. Y equals 8x plus 4. Okay, the last one we want is standard form. So we want ax plus by is equal to c. We'll take this equation right there. Y equals 8x plus 4. Y is already on the left like it needs to be. We need to get this positive 8x to the other side, so we're going to have to subtract it from both sides. That'll give us negative 8x plus the positive y that was already there. 8x's will cancel on the right, giving us a 4. Now, a happens to be -8, b is a positive 1, and c is 4. Those are all integers. The only issue here is that a needs to be positive. So the easiest way to make that -8 positive is to multiply the whole thing by -1. So we'll distribute. -1 times -8x will give me 8x. -1 times y will give me a minus y. And -1 times 4 will give me a -4. We want a standard form. There it is. Now we're given a graph. We want point slope form first. So y minus y1 equals m parentheses the quantity x minus x1. Close it up. We need to calculate slope. In example 1, it was given to us. In example 2, we calculated it from 2 points using slope formula. Here, because we have a graph, we can use the graph and do rise over run. So that'll be change in y over the change in x. We want 2 points. They give us 2 points here. Perfect. Going from left to right, I'm going to start here, and I want to end up on this other one. So change in y tells me I can only go up or down. In this case, I'm going to have to go down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And because I went down, that'll be a -8. And then change in x, go to the right 2. So that'll be positive. -8 divided by 2 gives us a -4. There's my slope. I also need a point. that I can use x1, y1. Either one of these 2 points would be good. I'll just go ahead and use that point right there, which would be -2, +4. Okay, so go ahead and plug them into the equation. We have y minus 4 equals m, parentheses x minus the -2 that was already there. So that'll become y minus 4 is equal to m. Sorry, we never plugged in m, so let's go ahead and do that. M represents slope, which we had calculated to be -4. So that should be -4 right there. And the double negative inside will become positive like we could have done since the beginning. So point slope form is right there. All right, slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So take this equation from before. We had y minus 4 is equal to -4 times the quantity x plus 2 in parentheses. Like before, we're going to distribute. So -4 times x is -4x. -4 times 2 is a -8. And then we want to get y by itself. So we're going to add the constant 4 to both sides. On my left, that's 0. So I can bring down y. -4x has nothing to combine with. And -8 plus 4 will give me a -4. So slope intercept form is y equals -4x minus 4. Okay, and then the last one we need is standard form. So that's ax plus by is equal to c. Using the equation from before, we had y equals -4x minus 4. We'll add 4x to both sides so that we can get it to the left. So that'll be 4x plus y is equal to -4x plus 4x cancels, leaving me -4. A, b, and c are integers. A is positive. We are good to go there. So standard form is that right there. All right, 4a says rewrite into slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, which again means we want y to be on the left by itself and to have a coefficient of 1. So first thing we're going to want to do is get rid of this positive 7x by subtracting it from both sides. On my left, 7x minus 7x is 0. We can bring down the 3y equals -21 and -7x cannot combine because one has a variable, the other one is a constant. Notice I want the mx term first, so I'm going to bring down the -7x and then the -21 that was already there. Now we got y on the left by itself like we wanted to, but we want the coefficient to be 1. So this is 3 times y, so we're going to have to divide everything by 3 on both sides. On my left, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I can bring down y. -7 divided by 3 cannot be simplified, so I will leave that as -7/3 x, and then -21 divided by 3 gives us a -7 for a final answer of we want a slope-intercept form. It's y equals -7/3 x minus 7. All right, 5a, again, we want slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is going to be y equals mx plus b. Notice that has no parentheses and y is by itself. So first thing we're going to want to do is distribute. On my left, we're going to bring it down. 5 times x will give me 5x. 5 times a -3 will give me -15. We need to get rid of the constant on the left, so -4 on both sides. 4 minus 4 is 0. We can bring down the y. On the right, 5x has nothing to combine with. -15 minus 4 will give me a -19. And then final answer. Oh, maybe I shouldn't use that color. Hang on. Let's use a different color highlighter. So slope-intercept form will be y equals 5x minus 19. All right, 6a, we want the equation in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. Okay. Y is already on the left like it needs to be. We need to get that positive 3x over there, so we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. That'll be -3x plus y. Notice I put the x term first because ax should go before the by. 3x minus 3x on the right gives us 0, so we bring down the negative 8. A, b, and c are integers, but we need a to be positive. And again, the easiest way to accomplish that is to multiply everything by negative 1, because a negative and a negative will give me a positive 3, which is perfect. Negative 1 times y will give me minus y. A negative 1 times a negative 8 will give me a positive 8. So a, b, and c are integers, and a is positive like we need it to be. So standard form, 3x minus y is equal to 8. Okay. 7a wants it in standard form as well. So that's ax plus by is equal to c. Let's get rid of the distribution first. So we have y minus 9 equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times a positive 5 is positive 15. We want all the constants c to the right, so I'll get rid of that first. It's minus 9, so I'll add 9. Those cancel, giving me just y equals 3x. 15 plus 9 will give me a positive 24. Now I need the x, positive 3x, to go to the other side, so I'll subtract it from both sides. On my left, y negative 3x can't combine. I'll bring down the 3x first because I need it to be ax first, plus the y that was already there. On the right, 3x minus 3x is 0. I can bring down 24. Almost there. A, b, c are integers, but a needs to be positive, so I'll distribute a negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 3x will give me positive 3x. Negative 1 times y will give me minus y. And negative 1 times a positive 24 will give me a minus 24. Okay, so standard form is 3x minus y is equal to negative 24.